And I'm so happy today because I'm going to have Liz Campbell with us, and she is going to talk all about yoga and what yoga means in her life and what it's brought to her mindfulness and her just sense of balance. And really, I really want to talk a lot about gardening, because for me, that has always been a place of solace and where I've gone just to relax and peace and such. And so it's so wonderful to bring someone like Liz on and talk about this. So it's really about healthy habits. It's part of an ongoing practice that you do when you're gardening. You don't just plant your seedlings and go away and set the timer and think everything's going to take care of it. Part of why you're doing this is because it's part of your life. It's part of you're feeding your body, but you're also enjoying nature and what it brings to you. So let's get started with Liz. So Liz, I think let's just first tell me about kind of your background and how you got into yoga. And now you're, of course, gardening with us, but just tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I got into yoga when I was in a very weird place in life, and I needed some guidance. I needed some good vibrations. I needed a good habit building thing. I felt as though I had kind of lived this life that wasn't really mine up until that point. I mean, you're a kid, you don't really get to choose what you do 100%. And so when I was, 18, 19, out on my own for the first time, I had this kind of aha moment of like, how am I now going to take my life forward in the direction that I want it to go, and, to get the most out of life.
Right.
And I'm very blessed to say that I had some incredible influences in my life. I had some friends that brought me along with them to a couple classes. They're like, Liz, I think you're going to like it. And I wasn't necessarily very athletic or strong or anything, so I was naturally very intimidated. And I ended up falling in love with the practice after a few tries. I tried different styles, and the style I resonated with quite a lot was vinyasa. And I
Okay.
started practicing more and more. And when I was about 23, I made the decision to do teacher training. And I'm like, this is it. This is what I want to do. And it has only benefited my life. It started out as kind of like, let's just see how it goes. And now it's like my whole entire life. And I couldn't be more grateful for the people that introduced it to me.
So that's so interesting. It's like a journey, like you tried it out to kind of just see, and then next thing you know, it has really become a big part of who you are as well,
Right.
which is,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we'll talk about that. Talk about some of the, because it's one of the reasons why it was important for us to bring it in to Planted Places is that, we were really sitting down and talking about, let's really make this about living a healthy lifestyle and a balanced lifestyle. And
Mhm.
yoga just appeared as a natural fit. And so how has that worked into your life and how you think about just balance and healthy habits, and what has that done for you?
It has been everything. Being able to just be more mindful in general, it's a kind of like a domino effect. You become mindful in one direction and one specific thing that you're trying to focus on, and the more you practice it, the more mindful you become in every other aspect of your life. And so it has helped improve every function in my body, let alone the way I think every day and just how I feel overall. But I mean, the biggest thing it's done for me is it's given me this freedom to move and breathe with ease.
Mm.
And I see people and my students, a lot of the times are older and maybe they haven't really done much yoga in their life. And it's amazing how your body will continue to shift and evolve just like your mind will, no matter what you do.
Yeah.
So to be able to find a practice that really helps evolve you in such a really healing way, it becomes a very well-rounded thing that really helps every aspect of your life. And
Yeah.
I can't even imagine, I can't think of one thing that I do or experience that isn't impacted by that in some way.
It's
And
interesting. I mean, do you find that people aren't even aware? I mean, I'm sure I'm guilty of this, where you're not even aware that maybe you're holding like you come into a class and you're holding the stress from the day or the week or just something going on in your life and you don't even know you're holding it there. Do
totally,
you notice that with your clients, and
completely.
how does that play out? Yeah.
It's I love it when I get to share with them, like, did you know that you're holding your shoulders up? And they're like, oh my
I'm
God, I had
probably
no
right.
idea, or whatever it might be. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll tell people to get really calm and relaxed, and they'll have like this thing going on, and I'm like, I'm like, relax, relax. And you
Right,
just
right.
hold, you just hold on, you clench, you constrict. And a lot of it is, it's this mental sort of need for control, or this anxious sort of energy. And you can see it in someone's body.
Yep.
And that little extra, 2 3 minutes, not really extra, but that little 2 3 minutes at the end of class, which I consider to be like the most important two three
Sacred.
minutes
Yeah.
yeah, it's sacred. It's all
Right.
about releasing, just letting go, letting go. And that also is a practice. We just hold on to so much stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I did, it's called Shavasana. And the first time I
Uh,
did it, I would say correctly, or really felt that release. It felt like I had chills all over my body. I cried many times in the beginning,
wow.
just because I finally was able to truly let go.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, people do hold on.
Well, no, it's true. And what's so interesting too is I was listening to a podcast and I'm trying to remember the guy's name. And he was talking when you just said release and kind of sense of control. And I was thinking to myself, gosh, and in this, one of the things that he talked about, and I started doing it just in my daily work day, and it's around release, which is like when you're switching from one activity to another in your regular course of a work day, like let's say you're doing something, you're doing email, or now you're about to go on a big call, like give yourself 2 minutes and just
Mhm.
sit in silence and just say those words, release, 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 over in your head. And then for like the last 30 seconds or so, like focus your attention to, okay, what do you want the outcome, or what do you want that meeting to be about? And I just thought that is so interesting. I started doing it and it is so powerful. It's
Yes.
amazing, just that few minutes and just the release the tension that's there and get ready for
Mhm.
the next thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So, okay, and you also said the word patience, which
Yeah.
makes me totally think of gardening. So this is a good segue to get into
Yeah.
gardening. And so you started gardening. So, you
Mhm.
hadn't done that before and you started doing that. And at least, growing food, it's funny because a lot of people garden, whether they have houseplants or succulents, but when you start growing food, it's a whole different level, right?
Yeah.
And what has that been like for you? And how has a lot of what you're doing already in your life now transferred over to the gardening? Like, what are the connection points for you?
I have a couple. So one thing
Okay.
I got to say, it seems easy and it can be, but you're right about how you really got to make it. It's a ritual. It's every day. It's not just like you plant it and you're done. It's like
Yep.
you got to continue to baby it a little bit. And and I see it as like, you're planting these seeds, so to speak. And
Mhm.
once they're planted, or seedlings, if you will,
Yeah.
once they're planted, just like in yoga or just like in mindfulness, you can have this moment where you become aware of something that maybe you weren't before, and in that moment you've planted this seed. And I
Mhm.
see it just kind of as this beautiful connection between
Oh, it's
between
wonderful.
gardening and what's going on in your mind and your bodies. When you start to have those aha moments, and when you start to catch yourself when you're a little stressed, or when you're holding on to a thought that isn't good for you, the
Mhm.
moment that you catch yourself, I see it as like you're sort of watering the seed. You're
Yeah.
watering the seed, and the seed that you're wanting to grow is that seed of it's not necessarily control,
Yep.
but it's your chance to choose, right?
Mhm.
To choose if you're
Mhm.
going to follow a stressful thought, or if you are going to continue uh you know finding the good feeling thoughts. And
Yeah.
with gardening, every time I water it, every time I put it in the sun, every single one of these little plants, I feel as though I'm doing a similar kind of thing. I'm over time, it's not going to be overnight. It takes
Yep.
time,
Does take
just like
time.
this practice.
Yep.
But you get to see it flourish, and you get to see it become this beautiful plant, and then you get to eat it, which is the fun
Right.
part,
Which
because
is
you're like,
even
I made
amazing.
this.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
been really fun, and I didn't have the patience before to do it, I think. And
Uh-huh.
yoga has definitely given me that. I think some people might start gardening and then maybe consider yoga. For me, it was the other way around. I don't know if I could garden without the yoga
Well,
to
it's so
remind me.
interesting to hear you say this because it makes me think of a lot of kind of our customers when they first come on, especially because I think we appeal to a lot of people that are aspiring to learn that they haven't really done it before. And
Yeah.
what's interesting is I'll see them and I see them struggle at first. And and they want to control it. They want to know all the answers answers right away, but more than importantly, they really want to control it. Well, that didn't happen last time. Now it's happening now. And so, but what's so beautiful is to watch. And usually it's about a 2 to 3 month process. And you get
Mhm.
over that kind of to the 3 month hump. You have to kind of go through one harvest and then start the other. And then all of a sudden, just to see their confidence and, oh, I get it. But at first, it's that sense of control. Like oh
Yeah.
my God, the caterpillar ate the leaf. Like they're just so upset, you know, and I'm like, bugs will happen. You know, that
Yes.
is something, you know, that happened actually today. I was out and I was, you know, looking at my wall from a distance and I was like, oh, it's so pretty. And then I went up close. It was another wall that I have in a different part, the test gardens. And I looked up close and oh my God, there were like aphids and it was a kale. And when I looked up close, there were all these aphids like hovering around all the new growth. And I thought, oh my gosh, there was a time where I would have freaked out about that. And instead I'm like, okay, where's the hose? You know, I of course first took a video for people. It was a good learning moment, right? And then I
Yeah.
took the hose, I sprayed all the little things off, and I checked and was like, okay, it's good. And then I put it back on, and then I took a video of that to show people, like, this happens, guys, and it's okay. You know, you just kind of,
Yeah.
yeah, don't let it stress you out. Yeah, yeah,
That's such a great mindset to have. I had an experience a couple days ago with aphids and I totally freaked out. I'm not gonna lie. But I soaked them in water. They
yep,
were ready to harvest anyway, so I soaked them in water and they were fine. But
yeah, yeah,
I love how compassionate you are about it. You're like, it's gonna happen. It's okay. And I think sometimes we can take a situation like that, whether it's bugs or stress or anxiety or whatever it might be, and think of that it's like the worst thing ever, and it's going to take over your life and it's going to ruin your plant, it's going to ruin whatever. And it's nice to know that, like, just take a deep breath,
yep,
going to be okay. And there's
right.
always a solution, and sometimes the solution isn't immediate, but it's there, and it just takes a good step in the right direction, and some awareness of what the problem is in order to make the change to resolve it.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting how it transcends different parts of your life because
Yeah.
it's true that you'll like whether it be gardening or yoga or just there's a challenge like you know you have stressful things like I've got 3 boys and let me tell you it can be stressful at times and I just kind of go with the flow because you're like at the end of it all you know it everything always does work out, right? And so I always had to just that same attitude of like seems a little stressful right now, like whether it be work or whatever, but it's like, it'll work out. So, okay, I see the bugs and they're everywhere. Not really. That usually doesn't happen because I'm on it. That's an important thing. If
Yeah.
I do make that a ritual and things like that. So, but
Yeah.
I do think that's neat how you said, you know, it's that idea of I really want to control it, right? I hadn't made that connection. I mean, that's a strong connection for me with yoga and gardening. They're very
Mhm.
similar. I had that. I did gardening first and then I got into yoga. And oh, was I frustrated when I couldn't do certain poses, you know, you
Yeah.
know, and they would come over to me, you're strong enough. It's all up here, you know, and I'm like,
Yeah.
You think so?
You're
Yeah.
just surrendering to the process when you acknowledge there's a challenge and there's a kind of a threshold, and to cross the threshold is going to take a little time. So you don't I just think of it as one day at a time. Like,
Yeah.
these little plant seedlings take what, 2-3 months, like you said, to fully flourish. So,
Yep.
give yourself at least that amount of time, give yourself that compassion and that grace. And I think
Right.
we're very hard on ourselves and we expect to like be perfect right away and fix a problem right away. But to be able just to trust and like know
Yes.
that everything's just going to work out no matter what it is, that alone is going to take away a lot of the anxious thoughts.
Yeah, and it's interesting because when we started this, we really started as we're going into winter, this whole
Hmm.
planted membership. And I remember at the time, the team, we were, gosh, is this really what we want to be doing? And I had all sorts of reasons from a business standpoint why I wanted to do that in terms of like, let's get this figured out. Let's get, but then at the same time, I thought this is a perfect time to teach people, if they can figure out how to grow in the, like, in probably the hardest time of the year to grow, then they're going to be so confident and so excited by the time they get into spring. And so now, of course, we're bringing in a number of new spring people, the next week when we open up our cart and open up our launch, our membership and such. So that's exciting. And those guys are
Yay.
going to have it easy, right? They're going to come in and it's spring and there's sun and, so, so that's great. Gosh,
Yeah.
anything else that you want to add in terms of, just how you think about it and just words of wisdom for just maintaining balance and just, peace in life?
Yeah, well, it all comes down to allowing yourself to just be who you are and to take time to do anything. The I love to follow the law of attraction, or the idea of a law of attraction. And the biggest law that kind of is almost overriding that one is the law of allowing, which I've had a conversation with a couple really wonderful women this week about that. And just allowing. It's really that simple. Whether it's a person you don't really jive with, an energy from a person, or maybe it's a situation in your life, or the plants have bugs on it. It's the art of just allowing things to be the way they are and not trying to control every ounce of everything. And
Mhm.
that's something that I had to work with quite a bit. And I think of all the things that yoga's given me, the physical stuff you get, of course, I consider like the flexibility, the strength, being able to balance on one foot or whatever. That's all side effects. Those are all things that just happen with it. The practice itself is where you just surrender. And you can really, I feel, achieve anything when you have that kind of mindset. But you can't quite get that mindset until you practice it a little bit.
Right.
So
Right.
and I love your theme for this season is getting grounded. And that's something I talk a lot about in my classes. And honestly, one of the best things you could ever do for yourself to do that is to just quiet your mind.
Hmm.
And it's easier said than done. The
That's
mind
it.
is
That's a
very
hard
talkative,
thing.
right? It's a hard thing.
Yeah, but it's
There,
so important.
yeah, it really is. And
Yeah.
I don't want to just leave you with that, but I do want to give you that. Probably my favorite thing I've learned in my whole life, that I learned this year. Well, 2020 was the year that I figured this out from this amazing uh person who I listen to and follow. And basically, the ultimate thing you can do just for the betterness of the world and your health, mind, body, and soul, is to focus on the good feeling thoughts.
Hmm.
I think a lot of times we get in these spirals and
Yep.
we just follow them. We feel like we are at the mercy of it. We feel like we're kind of like a slave of our mind, but we're actually in 100% control of it. We've just built habits. So,
Oh my
um,
gosh, you might be listening to the same person, I think. I mean, because it's kind of like I so agree with that. And it's peace of mind. If you can just be at peace and be okay with it all. Like it's
yeah,
amazing how that transcends to everything, how you think about. People will tell me, Chrissy, you're a different person than you were, 2 years ago. And I'm like, maybe it's because I started gardening more, and maybe it's also because I really try to incorporate that. I think it's such an important, but it can be
yeah,
hard, and 2020 certainly did challenge us, but there's always kind of a light or a lesson there in everything.
absolutely.
So
I think and gardening makes it real easy to find good feeling thoughts, because you just look at these beautiful plants, and it's gorgeous. It's life, and you are the one helping it cultivate, helping it become this
yeah.
edible, beautiful thing that's organic, that's gonna give you more vitality and more life. It's just this beautiful cyclical relationship.
Yeah, and it's hard
And
to put words to, isn't it? Like, unless
yeah,
you experience it. No, but seriously, like once you experience it, and then you're like, especially with growing food, it's like, God, it's so beautiful. And then you eat it and you're like, I can't even put words to this. Like, it's so delicious. And you can plant it again. And in a few weeks, it looks like that again. I mean, it's an amazing process. And yeah,
yeah.
it's a wonderful thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited to continue with this, because this is, again, the first time in my life I have grown anything this long without killing it. And you guys have helped me a lot with that, because
That's
you
so
give those
great.
little like directions and everything. It
Yeah.
seems easy, but sometimes, I mean, certain brains can get it easily. For me, I didn't have the patience, I didn't have the ritual mindset of like doing things every day.
Yep.
And that's where the yoga really helped me be able to think, okay, today I'm going to do this, this, and this. And I always think about, how are my plants, what am I doing with my plants? And
Right.
like right now my mint is huge. It's just blowing up. And
Oh, that's wonderful. You have to make some
yeah,
mojitos or something.
I'm gonna dry it out as well and use it as like spice. And
Yeah.
I'm
We're
really
gonna
excited.
next month, we do our Get Your Greens challenge every month. And we are doing teas, and we have actually a lemon balm and mint tea, because I think you're growing both of those. And so
Nice.
that's just really medicinal. Lemon balm is really good for you. So and then I'm hoping this summer we can do like a Tulsi, I think it's Tulsi basil,
Oh,
which is
yes,
another
holy
one.
basil.
Yes,
I would love
exactly.
to grow some of that.
Yeah.
Please send some my way.
Oh, that's great.
Very
Well, thank you
cool.
so much, Liz. I so appreciate it. And
Yes, thank you.
yeah, and I'm really excited. We have you have a bonus that you've really put together for our members. And would you love to can you talk about it? Because I've told them there's been a bonus coming and I kind of wanted to wait until we talked to really release it and tell people about it.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So I'm so far I've been sharing a class a week with you guys, with your members. And it's just a fun little class that I'll do from my, little abode over here.
I
And
love your cat comes in and I
oh
love
my God.
I love that. I love your little cat.
I'm glad you do. The
Yeah.
one today, you haven't seen it yet. I recorded it this morning. She is just the most craziest. She's she loves attention.
Yes.
But anyways, yeah. So that's happening once a week, and then I'm also offering once a month a nice master class. So I gave you, I guess you're going to share it soon. It's a 3-part introduction to yoga series, and it's just for anybody, really. You don't have to be flexible. You don't have to be 16 or a gymnast. You can literally be a regular human, just wanting to feel good. And it's all about breath. It's all about mindful movement, and just feeling the moment, not letting the mind just continue on with its dialogue that it does all day, and giving your mind a job to do. And
It's
that's
such a
pretty much the trick.
That's such a treasure though. I mean, and I think it's so perfectly aligned with what we're trying to do with the Get Grounded. So I love that because it's like a gift. It's a gift that we're giving to people that go to this training. So and of course our members get to benefit too. But I wanted
Yes.
to provide something special for people that were checking us out. So that's great. Well, thank you
Hey,
so much,
cool.
Liz.
Thank
And
you.
send more pictures of your plants as they're growing in.
Oh, I will.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Can't wait.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. Take care.
Thank you.